How are you doing today, my law school friends? Now that I'm basically done with my law degree, minus the SQE, I think it's time to have an honest conversation about studying law, building a legal career, societal expectations, the fun stuff. I got the chance to study law for the first time during my year abroad in Japan. I also got very lucky because I pretty much ended up having private law classes and my teacher was absolutely amazing. So that's when I decided I really want to pursue a legal career, and of course, I got all of my information from Google. What a mistake. As an international student building a life for myself in the UK by myself, with zero connections, I had no one to turn to for advice, and honestly, I was kind of naive. But we'll get to the employment struggles in a bit. We all know that studying law involves a lot of reading. Now, with that said, did I find the majority of my law courses easier than my politics undergrad? Yes, I did. But before you come at me, let me explain. This is just for 1 year. I realized it was stupid of me to waste my money on textbooks when I can just get them from the library, so I stopped buying textbooks in year 2. Go to the library, kids! Politics is extremely subjective. Law is not, okay? So with politics, your work is graded based on how well you can explain and argue your point by using data, research, and theories. There is so much theory in politics, it's ridiculous. With law, you get straight to the point. Yes, a lot of law is arguing and defending your point, but generally you have very clear structures, case law, legislation. Like 90% of the time, you have very clear guidelines. With law, you have to be concise and get the job done. With politics, it's the exact opposite. And I am a very straightforward person. I don't like wasting my time and beating around the bush. So I generally find law easier and more interesting. Studying part-time allowed me to spend more time researching law firms, attending law events, and working on my training contract and vacation scheme applications. And this is when the reality checks started hitting hard. First of all, I need you to understand that I come from a tiny country. London's population is bigger than the whole of Bulgaria's population. However, I didn't even think about that. And so, when I started applying to law firms, I had no real sense of how fierce the competition is and how many people are competing for one position. I didn't know the law firms would be looking at all of my grades at university. I had no idea what Russell Group meant. I had no care for my university's law society. I wasn't even thinking about all of the Oxbridge graduates. And I had no network in the UK that I could ask for help. Fast forward to me failing 2 application cycles and entering my 3rd. And it's not just the vacation schemes and training contracts that are the issue. The competition for paralegal positions is also fierce, with the majority of jobs requiring at least 6 months of legal experience in a specific legal field. Well, here comes a tricky question. How are we supposed to gain that experience if no one is willing to give us that experience? Or you finally get to talk to recruiters and then they ghost you. Or you send off 100 applications and half of them don't even bother to send you an automated email that you failed. And then people tell you to go and network and that it all ends up being about who you know. And at some point, it's like your whole life has to revolve around law if you want to have a legal career.
Now I'm depressed. Even more than I was.
Don't get me wrong, I got lucky too with the small paralegal job I have, which, guess what? I got through a connection. But it's just not fair, and I hate how people don't talk about that. There are so many law graduates out there who spend years and years applying, and they just can't get through. And that's because the UK system is churning out law students and law graduates like a chocolate factory.
Dive in, save him!
Oh, it's too late.
Too late!
He's had it now. The suction's got him.
He can't swim!
There's no better time to learn.
He's blocking all the chocolate.
Oh, what happens now? Oh, the pressure will get him out. Terrific pressure is building up behind the blockage.
I wonder how long it's going to take him to push through.
The suspense is terrible.
He's going to go this time.
I hope it'll last.
Go on, boy. Go.
And so many people get their dreams crushed without even getting to experience what working in law is. And honestly, I see all of that gloom, and then I hop on LinkedIn and I just post like, I'm happy to announce I'm honored to have been selected.
Okay, so now what I just heard, blah 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 blah.
And then I go on Instagram and it's all the glam of the lawfluencers and how amazing the career is, and the same posts that repeat the exact same advice about how to get a training contract, how to do this and how to do that. And I'm like, when are we going to stop repeating the same thing over and over and over again? And then the SRA raises the SQE prices because of inflation? And to get access to resources that will help you with your law firm applications and to stand out, you have to pay. Because your university, the one institution you're paying thousands of pounds for, can't help you to the level that a private company can. You end up paying for your degree, for your qualification exams, and for help to get a job. I'm now at the point where I open up my textbooks to study for the SQE and I just don't want to. My motivation just disappears. I end up thinking, why am I doing this? And I am saying this as someone who is a bit on the privileged side now, with having some experience as a paralegal and being on track to graduate with a first. It's such a fierce competition for so few places. And yet at the same time, a lot of lawyers and trainees are overworked and are expected to work for more than 8 hours per day, especially those who work in the big law firms in the city. Something here just doesn't add up. My ranting aside, do I regret studying law? Absolutely not. I actually believe the basics of law should be integrated into our education system and be compulsory. Our society functions based on the laws we have, and when you live in ignorance of your rights and how the legal system works, you're making your life harder. And I'm not just talking about human rights and criminal law, contracts, business, property, inheritance. We should at least cover the basics of those things in school. And if not in school, then we should educate our children about them. Because we shouldn't be required to pay thousands of pounds in university fees just so we can learn how to better protect ourselves and how to build better lives for ourselves. So my conclusion for this video is that studying law is hard, but not as hard as people make it out to be. And pursuing a legal career is harder than people make it out to be. There is something very wrong within the legal field in the UK, and it's okay to have doubts. And with all of that off my chest, it's time for me to sit down and prepare for the SQE. Please do share what your experience as a law student or an aspiring lawyer is. Let's help each other out and talk more openly about our experiences. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.